Yeah, so My New York Year, which stars Sigourney Weaver, who was on the show last week and was great. Adapted from 2014 memoir by Joanna Rakoff. Weaver is this old school literary agent, Margaret, whose most high profile client is J.D. Salinger, reclusive author of Catcher in the Rye. Along comes Joanna, played by Margaret Qualley, who, of course, is in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a number of other things, but significantly in that. Has never read Salinger, wants to be a poet. She's told by Margaret, do not ever tell Salinger that you want to be a poet, that you want to be a writer. You mustn't do that. What she's set to work doing is reading Salinger's email and then reading Salinger's fan mail and then shredding it, because no fan mail must be allowed to get to Salinger. But of course, what happens is that gradually Joanna, who at first Margaret is a bit hoity about, becomes more and more valuable to her because she realizes that she has innate talent. Meanwhile, J.D. Salinger is encouraging her on the phone to become the writer that she wants to be. And then she's called into the office to ask how to deal with a new book by Judy Blume that Margaret doesn't really know what to do with. Here's a clip.
Well,
I like it.
really? But what do you make of it?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, it's not a kid's book, is it?
No. It's about kids for grown-ups. It's about female friendship.
But will adults buy a book about kids? Can I sell it?
Lots of books have child protagonists. Oliver Twist.
This is not Oliver Twist. But you would buy it.
I would. Many people would. There's the nostalgia factor. You know, my entire generation grew up on Judy Blume.
Maybe.
Definitely.
All right. You've had your fun. I put new tapes on your desk. Close the door.
So when Sigourney Weaver was on the show last week and talking about the film very eloquently, you know, she talked about, you know, it is evoking a past world. Margaret famously doesn't want any computers in the office, and they finally have to get a computer in, and she's really sort of, you know, she's really uptight about it and wants to put a cover over it. There's a very funny bit about, have we got one of those covers? No, we haven't got one of those covers. Why haven't we got one of those covers? And then there's the whole thing about Salinger, the myth that you said yourself, the fact that we never see Salinger's face. We only see him from behind, and it's like old school Hollywood portrayals of Jesus. You can't actually put Salinger on screen, which incidentally made Sigourney Weaver, you know, laugh. It's an odd little film. It is rather twee, despite the fact that it's based on a real life story. The characters never felt real to me. They did feel like, you know, characters in a drama. I mean, particularly the central character of Joanna, who felt like a kind of artificial construction, which is weird because actually, you know, completely rooted in reality. That said, I think Sigourney Weaver is having fun with that kind of grande dame role, and she does do the withering look stuff really well. The thing that you can't help comparing it to is The Devil Wears Prada, which is much more sort of snarky and sharp and kind of funnier and you know and more bitter. This is a much softer version of that, and it does, you know, amble around in a kind of slightly bookish manner. But then I don't know, maybe that's the right. It is the very definition of a film that goes down nicely with a cup of tea and a biscuit, missus. And you know, okay, there are worse things it could be. There are better things it could be, but there are worse things it could be too. And it is in cinemas.